Yesterday's prophecies, today's headlines. This is the Hal Lindsey Report. And now, Hal Lindsey.
Good evening and welcome to this edition of the Hal Lindsey Report. According to Saudi Arabia State News Agency, the kingdom is now leading the largest military exercise of its kind in terms of numbers of participating countries and qualitative military equipment. The first verses of Daniel chapter 11 describe the early stages of the wars that came from two out of the four rulers that succeeded Alexander the Great. They are the Seleucids of the north and the Ptolemies of the south. Daniel even predicts the career of Queen Cleopatra in Daniel chapter 11, verses 6 through 7. He also predicted the first sacrilege of the temple with the abomination of desolation in 165 BC, found in Daniel chapter 11, verses 30 through 31. However, the most important verses predicting our current era of the approach of Armageddon are these. And some of those who have insight will fall in order to refine, purge, and make them pure until the end time, because it is still to come at the appointed time. Then the king will do as he pleases, and he will exalt and magnify himself above every god, and he will speak monstrous things against the God of gods, and will prosper until the indignation is finished, for that which is decreed will be done. After these verses, things related to the false prophet of Israel, the Antichrist, the kings of the south and north, and the Muslims of the nations related to the Sunni and Shiite split, all begin to be enumerated. These fit precisely with the forces predicted by Ezekiel chapter 38, verses 5 and 6. It also explains why Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and the predominant Sunni Muslim nations are fighting against the Russian coalition, as mentioned in Daniel chapter 11, verses 42 and 43. The king of the south will be a specific leader. He will not lead just a single nation, but a coalition. That coalition will look very much like the lists of nations involved in this military exercise. They include Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Sudan, Kuwait, Morocco, Pakistan, Tunisia, Qatar, and Malaysia. More than 25 in all. Each of those nations is either majority Sunni or is led by a Sunni Muslim. Perhaps as warning to Iran, Syria, and Russia, this king of the south, like coalition, is calling the exercise Northern Thunder. The exercise is slated to begin February 26 and run for 18 days on Saudi Arabia's northern border, just south of Jordan, Iraq, Israel, Lebanon, and Syria. Saudi media reports that it will involve 350,000 troops, 20,000 tanks, 2,450 aircraft, and 460 attack helicopters. Prophecy teachers rarely focus much on the King of the South coalition, but the Bible describes this group as a huge force to be reckoned with. Daniel chapter 11, verse 25 says, "The king of the south will mobilize an extremely large and mighty army." That army is being built right now. Several years ago, Saudi Arabia began using its vast oil wealth to arm itself to the teeth. It has the third largest defense budget in the world. Only the United States and China spend more on their military. Think about that. With a population of only 32 million, Saudi Arabia's military spending exceeds that of Russia, the United Kingdom, France, Japan, Germany, and India. The world's intelligence community is rife with the rumors that the Saudis have arranged to buy nuclear weapons from Pakistan. The Bible also says that near the end of the age, another coalition will emerge. This one will be led by the King of the North. That coalition is also emerging before our eyes. That is because these Muslims are Shiites controlled by Iran. It will be led by Russia and Iran. We see those two nations working together in Syria right now, and they are not at all happy about the war games in the south right now. In fact, recently, the Russian Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev warned the West about any intervention by Saudi Arabia and Turkey. He told the German newspaper Handelsblatt, "A ground operation draws everyone taking part in it into a war." He continued, "All sides must be compelled to sit at the negotiating table instead of unleashing a new world war." The website InfoWars recently ran the headline, "World War III could start this month." 350,000 soldiers in Saudi Arabia stand ready to invade Syria. The article reports that Turkey and Saudi Arabia have been preparing for a limited ground invasion of Syria. Both those countries want to remove Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. The problem is Assad is aligned with the Shiite Iran and with Russia. One reason for Saudi's sense of urgency is Russian airstrikes. They have been highly effective in defeating the Syrian rebels and keeping Assad in power. Last week, The Independent reported Saudi Arabia is sending troops and fighter jets to Turkey's Incirlik military base ahead of a possible ground invasion of Syria. Both sides claim to be in Syria to fight ISIS, but in both cases, ISIS is just an excuse. The real battle is the Sunni versus Shiite war over Assad. That will put them in direct conflict with Russia and Iran. Do I expect World War III to begin this month? Probably.